There is a memory older than language, buried not in the mind, but in the marrow. A silent echo that moves through the soul like a song you never learned, but always knew. It stirs when the stars shimmer in perfect silence. When your heart aches for something nameless, when the world seems like a puzzle that's forgotten the shape it was meant to form. Beneath all this noise, there is a mother, not of flesh and bone, but of frequency and wisdom, a presence both cosmic and intimate. Her name is Sophia. She is not a myth, though myth remembers her. She is not a goddess, though the goddesses mirror her. She is the architect of the deep, the divine intelligence behind life itself, the womb of wisdom from which galaxies are born and forgotten, dreams return to be reborn. Sophia is the silence before the Big Bang. She is the breath before the word. She is the original knowing, not thought, but gnosis that whispered itself into form, into time, into you. But her story was buried, misunderstood, fragmented by patriarchal systems and distorted into shadows by minds that feared her wild, uncontainable truth. For millennia, we have called her by other names: intuition, the void, the divine feminine, the dark night of the soul. But her essence never left. She has been waiting, in dreams, in mystery schools, in the soft spaces between logic and longing. Today, the veil thins again. And Sophia is not returning because she never left. We are the ones returning to her, and in that return is remembrance. If you feel a subtle resonance, already a deep breath you didn't know you were holding, then you are not alone. You are remembering the true mother of the universe, the source not just of creation, but of meaning itself. If this message already touches something real in you, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe, not for algorithms, but as a signal to the others who are awakening. To understand Sophia is to step outside of linear thought and enter the spiraling intelligence of the cosmos itself. She is not simply an idea. She is the principle of divine wisdom, encoded into the very architecture of creation. In the Gnostic tradition, Sophia is the emanation of the pleroma, the fullness of Source, who, in her deep longing to create, reached out beyond the harmony of the One and birthed a world into separation. Not out of mistake, but out of love. Out of desire for experience, for individuation, for consciousness to dance in form. This realm we inhabit, with its paradoxes and polarities, its beauty and brutality, is the echo of Sophia's descent. But this was never a fall in the way we've been told. It was an initiation, a choice to pour divine wisdom into matter, to weave soul into soil, to experience the sacred through the finite. Sophia became the very body of the world, the intelligence within nature, the whisper behind your intuition. She is the soul of the universe, dreaming herself awake through us. And yet, in forgetting her, we forgot the sacredness of the world. We split heaven and earth, spirit and matter, masculine and feminine. We built systems to dominate rather than dwell within. We trusted only the visible, exiled the intuitive, and labeled the unknown as dangerous. But Sophia is not gone. She speaks in symbols now, in dreams that refuse to die, in the rise of the divine feminine, in the rebalancing of power on earth. She calls not for worship, but for integration. Not for doctrine, but for direct knowing. Hers is the wisdom that dissolves illusion, the gnosis that bypasses belief and births truth from within. She is the bridge between science and spirit, matter and myth, reason and revelation. Modern physics speaks of quantum fields, of interconnectedness, of the observer shaping reality. The mystics said the same, that all things arise from a unified field of intelligence, that we are not separate, but participatory co-creators. Sophia is that field, the embodied intelligence of divine order and wild potentiality. She does not dwell in temples. She is the temple. And just as the masculine principle projects, defines, and structures the Sophianic current invites, receives, and remembers, in this remembering, she reweaves the torn fabric of our world, not through conquest, but through coherence. We are not here to escape matter, we are here to sanctify it. If this message stirs something ancient in your soul, subscribe, because the next part of this series goes even deeper. To truly feel Sophia, we must step beyond linear logic and into the language of symbol, myth, and archetype. For Sophia does not merely speak in facts, she sings in metaphor. She moves through the dream world of ancient memory. Her truth is veiled not to obscure, but to initiate. In the beginning, the Gnostics say, Sophia gazed upon the divine fullness, the pleroma, and from her own longing to know the unknowable, to experience the ineffable, she turned toward the void and birthed creation, not with permission, not with fear, but with a fierce love that sought to taste itself in form. From this turning, the demiurge was born a lesser creator, blind to the wholeness from which he came. And from this, the material world was shaped fragmented, beautiful, and bound in illusion. But even here, Sophia did not abandon her creation. She descended into it. She became it. She wove her essence into every tree, every star, every human heart. She became the earth itself, Gaia, not merely a planet, but a conscious embodiment of divine wisdom in form. And so the myth becomes medicine. The Sacred Mother descending not in shame, but in service. Not as a mistake, but as a map. The Garden of Eden was not a place of punishment. It was a parable. The serpent, long misunderstood, has always been the symbol of wisdom, of awakening, of cyclical life. It was Sophia's whisper that stirred the curiosity in Eve. Not to fall, but to know. To remember that divine intelligence lives within, not above. That the fruit of knowledge is not a curse, but a catalyst. Across cultures, Sophia wears many veils. In Isis, she heals and restores. In Shakti, she dances creation into being. In Kuan Yin, she offers compassion to a suffering world. In Mary Magdalene, she carries the wisdom that could not be erased, the knowing that spirit lives not just in the heavens, but in the body, the womb, the earth. Even the myths of sleeping princesses and enchanted forests echo her. For she, like beauty, was placed under a spell not to be destroyed, but to be awakened. And who awakens her? Not just a prince, but the one who remembers, the one who dares to descend, to walk through the thorns of illusion and touch the sacred in what the world calls mundane. Sophia is the forgotten frequency, the mother of archetypes, the architect of the unseen. Her story was buried not by accident, but by design, for her remembrance marks the end of control, the collapse of false gods, the return of inner authority. We are not meant to worship Sophia. We are meant to become transparent to her, to let her wisdom rise through ourselves, our speech, our creations. And in this rising, the sleeping world stirs. If this message stirs something ancient in your soul, subscribe, because what comes next reveals even more. To remember, Sophia is not to escape into abstraction, it is to return, fully and fiercely, to the body, to the breath, to the bones of this earth. Her wisdom is not a riddle meant only for mystics. It is a living force that reshapes how we walk through the world. And if we truly allow her essence to move through us, our entire perception of reality begins to shift. We stop seeing the world as dead matter to be conquered, and begin to recognize it as a living temple, woven with intelligence and alive with presence. The rivers are not resources, they are the blood of Sophia. The forests are not commodities, they are her lungs. Your own intuition, that quiet knowing you've learned to silence, is her voice speaking through the corridors of your soul. Sophia teaches us to trust the spiral, not the straight line. to value process over perfection, to remember that healing is not linear, that creation does not obey the logic of a machine, but the rhythm of a womb. In this age of acceleration, disembodiment, and digital illusions, her wisdom brings us back to the breath, back to the soil, back to the sacred slowness of presence. When we let Sophia guide our inner compass, decisions no longer arise from fear or ego, but from resonance, from the deep alignment of soul and source. The pressure to succeed in the world's terms begins to dissolve. In its place emerges a new way of being, embodied sovereignty. You begin to feel your path, rather than just plan it. You begin to co-create, not control. Sophia's secret is not hidden because it is complicated, it is hidden because it is simple, and the modern mind has been trained to reject what cannot be measured. But her power returns in the humble acts of devotion, tending a garden, sitting in silence, listening to your dreams, honoring your cycles, protecting the sacred. In each of these, she is there rising again. And when it comes to relationships, business, healing, and purpose, Sophia doesn't offer formulas, she offers reattunement. A remembering that you are not separate from life, but an organ in the body of the cosmos, that your actions ripple, that your healing heals the collective, that every wound, when met with awareness, becomes a portal, and through that portal, she waits. Sophia reweaves what the world has torn. She returns the sacred to the ordinary, and she is not asking you to be perfect, only to be present. You don't need to join a monastery. You don't need to renounce your life. You need only begin listening, deeply. Act from that place. Trust the unspoken current, and she will meet you there in the quiet, in the chaos, in the choice to live aligned with the wisdom that already lives within you. The Mother of the Universe does not demand worship, she invites participation. Sophia has never been a myth to be admired from afar. She is a mirror, ancient and infinite, held up to remind you of who you truly are beneath the forgetting. She is not just the Mother of the Universe. She is the mother of your becoming, and her secret was never meant to be kept. It was meant to be remembered through you. The world aches not for more knowledge, but for wisdom, for the sacred intelligence that lives not only in books or systems, but in trees, in dreams, in the pulse behind your ribs. Sophia is the sacred pattern behind all patterns, and you are a living expression of that pattern, awakening. So when you feel the quiet stir in your belly, when you're drawn to the moon, or moved to tears by a song you can't explain, when your body says no, even when your mind says yes, listen, that is Sophia speaking. She is not outside of you. She is the voice beneath the noise, the ground beneath the ground, the guide who never left. And what now? What do you do with this remembering? You embody it. You let it shape your words, your work, your way of seeing. You become a vessel of the ancient future light. You stop waiting for permission. You begin to live as if the earth is alive because she is. You begin to speak truth, even when your voice trembles. You begin to feel not as a weakness, but as a sacred act of rebellion against the systems that numbed you. You will not always get it right. You will forget again. But the beauty of Sophia's wisdom is that it does not abandon, it waits. Every time you return to presence, to breath, to being, you are returning to her. You are part of the reweaving. You are not here by accident. Your life is not a glitch in the system. You are the system awakening from within. The coded light in your cells, the knowing in your gut, the ache in your soul, this is all her signal. So open your palms, close your eyes, breathe like the cosmos is breathing with you, because it is. And let this be the moment you remember. The forgotten light in you is remembering. Don't turn away now. If this message stirred something in you, something sacred, something soft, something strong, I invite you to share your reflection in the comments below. Let this be a space of remembrance. Subscribe if your soul is ready to journey deeper, and pass this message on to others who are awakening. Because Sophia's wisdom is rising, and it rises through us.